participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me first commend the Leader of Minority, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, for raising this issue on the matter of the judgment, and also take this opportunity to commend the Supreme Court. Because, Honorable Speaker, the architecture of our Constitution, and we must thank God that under the 2010 Constitution, the Supreme Court came into being. Because, Honorable Speaker, as an advisory court also, they have now set the pace, as the Honorable Junet Mohammed says, for us to be able to enact substantive legislation to guide our public participation exercises in the legislative processes of this House and even those of the other House and our county assemblies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the Leader of Minority that in line with Article 2 of our Constitution, that says that the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. And those democratically elected representatives are the men and women who sit in this House and in the Senate, Honorable Speaker. And more so in this House, because it is this House that represents the people. And that is why you will find also in this Constitution, many of the bills that become law can emanate from this House and become law without going to the other House, to the Senate, Honorable Speaker, because we represent the people while our Senate colleagues represent our counties. And that is why those bills that touch on counties and county governments must, as a matter of the Constitution, go to the other House and may also emanate from that House, but must be completed in this House. And that is why I've always argued, Honorable Speaker, since 2013, when we began this new system with the bicameral parliament, that we don't need to belabor which House is superior to the other. If one House can enact legislation and it becomes law by itself, and the other House cannot enact legislation and it becomes law by itself, it has to go to the other House, then it goes without saying which House is the upper House, Honorable Speaker. But that is not the point, Honorable Speaker. The point is that public participation has been abused by a number of our judges, especially in the High Court. And I must commend the Supreme Court and those other judges who have exercised judicial restraint in making determination as to what constitutes good public participation. And I have listened, I've read previous judgments on qualitative and quantitative analysis of what is good public participation, Honorable Speaker. But the Supreme Court now has put it very well. And I want to agree with Honorable Junet that it was misconstrued that public participation is a referendum. And in fact, during the public participation exercise of the impeachment process of the former deputy president, there are those who argued that way. And there are those who believe that we are going to carry out a referendum exercise. Public participation is to go out and collate the views of the public. But it's still up to the members of parliament to consider the views of the members of the public. And they may not necessarily be the right views. And you know, Honorable Speaker, it is said that opinions are as many as, I don't want to say what they say out there, but you know what they say, that opinions are as varied as you know what. And everybody has theirs. Therefore, as many views as we will get from the public, Honorable Speaker, the onus is still on us as the lawmakers to consider all those views, balance those views against what the legislation that we are making seeks to achieve, Honorable Speaker. And I'll take you back, Honorable Speaker, to the Finance Bill 2024. And Honorable Speaker, because I have seen the CS of National Treasury bring in a number of proposals that were very good proposals that were carried in the Finance Bill 2024, Honorable Speaker. We went out to collect views of the public through the public participation exercise that the member for Molo, the Honorable Kimani Kuria, spent, I think, close to 14 days seated in County Hall, listening to Kenyans. And Kenyans came in their numbers to give their views. They said they do not want taxation on bread.
They say they do not want to see taxation on motor vehicles. Kimani Kuria and the Finance Committee did a report which was tabled and adopted by this House in second reading, agreeing with members of the public that there should be no taxation on bread, no taxation on motor vehicles. Kenyans out there from the manufacturing industry, Honorable Speaker, appeared before the Finance Committee and told them that we are killing our manufacturing industry in Kenya because we are encouraging more of imports than local manufacturing. And it was players in the manufacturing industry through KEPSA, through the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, that brought proposals that would protect our local manufacturing industry, made proposals to levy excise duty on completed or finished products being imported from China, the Far East, Europe, including diapers and sanitary towels. But what happened, Honorable Speaker? The public were incited to believe that this House was levying tax on all diapers, on all sanitary towels, and you remember our young daughters telling us in their parlance out there how our bunge hata hawataki tunyeshe sasa. You know, Honorable Speaker, how embarrassing when we saw it was when we watched our daughters, our teenage daughters, telling us that hatutaki wanyeshe. Whereas it is them that we sought to protect. It is our young mothers, our young daughters, our sisters we sought to protect from cheap, completed products of sanitary towels, which nobody can authenticate how hygienic they are. The standards that they've been manufactured under in the West and in the Far East, Honorable Speaker. And some of these Far East countries, Honorable Speaker, you know, they have no standards. You get what you pay for. And it is that we sought to levy excise duty on, so that we protect that local manufacturer who is manufacturing sanitary towels in Mlolongo, another one in Ruiru, another one in Juja, another one in Nakuru, Honorable Speaker. It is the farmer in Western Kenya and Nyanza, and parts of Nyanza, Honorable Speaker, that we sought to protect, who has now been given cotton seed, BT cotton seed, to produce cotton for the value addition of these manufacturing industries, Honorable Speaker. It is the Kenyan youth who are on the streets we sought to protect, to create jobs for them in those factories here, Honorable Speaker. But what did we do? We were told, reject. We rejected, we lost jobs. We rejected, we exported jobs to the Far East. No wonder, Honorable Speaker, today, when CS Mutua announces 3,000 jobs in Qatar, 30,000 Kenyans turn up at KICC. I want to plead with the Kenyan people, and more so our fourth state, Honorable Speaker. Let us be responsible in how we communicate to our people, because we end up misleading our people, and at times even us as political leaders, we are guilty, because we end up saying what we think is popular with the public, but not what is right. And I've said here, Honorable Speaker, before, what is right is not necessarily what is popular, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, in terms of public participation, I want to ask all our committees, when we embark on public participation, our work is to listen to the views of the public and balance it against the legislative proposals that we have and against the policies that we seek to anchor that legislation on, Honorable Speaker. Because it is only you who, upon being elected, like the member for Kajiado South, the people of Kajiado South believe that the member of Kajiado South is the best amongst their people, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, because he's among the best of Kajiado South constituents, they entrust him to come and make laws on their behalf. And therefore, they expect the member for Kajiado South or the member for Kikuyu to know better. And by knowing better, to be able to know this legislative proposal that is before the House is anchored on the policy of import substitution. And therefore, you must balance the question of import substitution, the policy of import substitution, against the legislative or the tax proposals being made vis-a-vis the interest of business people who are importing cheap products that endanger our women, our young girls, Honorable Speaker, and it is only these honorable men and women in this House who can do that. Therefore, in conclusion, Honorable Speaker, let me inform the minority leader that indeed the office of the Attorney General is in the wee hours of finalizing on the public participation bill, a substantive bill that now, even further informed by what the Supreme Court has said, will guide our public participation exercise moving forward, Honorable Speaker, so that we do not find many of the statutes that we enact into law in this House and in the other House, Honorable Speaker, being rendered unconstitutional on the basis of public participation. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by commending the honorable ladies and gentlemen in the Supreme Court who rendered that judgment that was very well informed, and we can now comfortably say that that Supreme Court has men and women, Honorable Speaker, who weighed in on the issues that will guide our country very well moving into the future. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues, the minority leader and the majority leader. Number one, in